Hello and welcome back. Design 25. This is the last design for 2025. It does look like Christmas tree, so that's why I chose this one. But again, you can incorporate this design any way you wish. You can put upside down or on the side. And we will start with one color. Choose any color you want and you will make one round. In the second round, we start changing yarn color. So we are making one cluster, and the second one, that will be our top. I will call it top of the tree. And now we will change yarn color and we will just make one cluster with main color yarn. And right now I'm using my gray color yarn as my contrasting color yarn and purple as my main color yarn. And I do need to carry that yarn all around to make the same symmetrical cluster on the other side. And just a friendly reminder, when you're working with two different color yarn and you need to carry that yarn around, make sure your yarn tension is a little bit looser than normally you will make a granny square with just one color yarn. And now it's the time to change yarn color. We're making one cluster with different color yarn, just opposite of the first one we made. And this will be the end of round number 2. And beginning of round number 3, we are starting with main color yarn, and we will make only one cluster on the top with contrasting color yarn. So I'm changing my yarn color right now and making that one cluster. The rest on the side, I will use my main color yarn, and then I will be working my design only on the opposite side of this one, which will be the bottom of the tree. And I call it tree, but how I said, you can arrange this any way you wish. You can put upside down and looks nice when you're pointing to different sides. So this design does not need to be a tree, can be anything you wish. Okay, let's look at that. So we need to place hook under the yarn that we carry over in order to hide that yarn. And once we get to the corner, we need to change yarn color to make the bottom of the tree. And that's the time I'm changing yarn color. With this design, once I make those 3 clusters, I will no longer carry the contrasting color yarn around. Even if I need to make additional 4 clusters in the next round. And then I will show you how I do that to pull that yarn back to the beginning where I need to place the cluster. So as you see, I'm done with this round with contrasting color yarn, so I leave that yarn behind. I will leave the tail as is and just work my main color yarn to finish this round and start another round. At this point, I feel like you will be okay working independently. We just work in regular granny square stitch in one color. So I will see you at the middle of the next round and show you how I change that yarn color. So work all the way here and I will see you soon. And we are almost at the place. I need one more cluster and I will be picking up that leftover yarn from the other side. And this is how I do that. I stretch that yarn enough, but not too loose and not too tight. So I want to be sure I have enough space in this yarn to be able to make all my clusters, as well hide that yarn in between my clusters. And once you change that yarn color, you work your clusters the regular way, but at this time you hiding both yarns. You making sure that you're hiding the contrasting color carryover yarn, as well you carry over your main color yarn to the other side. So there is a lot of yarn in the back, but once you make stitches around that yarn will be in place, hidden between your double crochet stitches. I need 4 clusters here and I need 1 more. Now, as you see, I want to be sure that this is very stretchable. So this is the perfect time to double check my yarn tension. If I will feel like this is too tight, I will have to go and redo my stitches. I need to pick up that carry over yarn one more time with 1 stitch only. So I will place my hook right here to pick up that carry over yarn. It's secure now. And now my next 2 stitches I will make as normally in the center of the chain space. And now I'm changing yarn color for the last time. I will always double check again my yarn tension before I cut my yarn. So the design yarn, the contrasting color yarn is no longer needed. We will be finishing this round with main color yarn, and we will make 1 more round in main color yarn. And this is how the design look like before we add additional border round, and we are making this round in main color yarn. This is our last design for 2025 for granny square blanket, and now we need to arrange the blanket. I want to show you one more thing, how to hide this beginning. You place your hook under that carry over yarn and you make all your clusters up front of that yarn, pushing that yarn to the side, and that will be less visible. Looks like you never have that yarn there. So I hope this information was helpful and you learned something new today with this design. And thank you so much for crocheting with me each month. And if you are actually making exactly the same blanket, please share what colors did you use. As I mentioned, you can use this any way you wish. A range does not need to be 3, but you can use the same pattern with some variation as I did last year. And thank you again for supporting handmade art. I appreciate every like, every share, and every view. Have a nice day, Merry Christmas, and Happy Holidays.